are watching the Fan Club.
You're watching the Fan Club.
And you're watching the Fan Club. Do you know what time it is?
And you know what time it is.
It's time for the Fan Club. Let's go. Hey!
I can't do this on my own, cause you know things ain't always sweet when you out here in these streets. But my morpher when it morphed, I made a fake one.
Thank you. Oh, you realize how big it was. Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone for coming here. I know you're going to be walking around buying things, seeing other people. I appreciate you sitting and listening to me talk about my ball bag, and I love this. My ball bag is big. Snooch to the fucking douche. Alright, so
first off, so welcome here. So we do have a microphone right there. We're going to have a lot of questions. But before I get off this stage and let you have at it, I do have a question for you. So being a father now, we just had Halloween a couple days ago. I want to ask you about Halloween. What did you do for Halloween? Did you celebrate with your family? What did you do?
So what I did, it was awesome because for me, growing up in Jersey, we lived in this small town, Kevin and I, and he can say too, but Kevin and I lived in this town, it was like a mile long, and for Halloween, for me, growing up was you walk out your door, you dress up, and you go to every house in the neighborhood, everyone gives out candy, and the whole town participates. But since I moved to LA 20 years ago, it's so weird living in a city for me, and where we lived in the hills, not everyone gives out candy, and you have to drive to like neighborhoods, and there's only like a street that's blocked off that maybe throws like they give out candy and might throw a little thing. So I'm just saying, the last couple of years we haven't even gone, but we just moved into a new neighborhood, and it was a lot of fun because they blocked the like 3 streets off, and we all dressed up. Well, me and my daughter and son dressed up. I was the Joker. My son was a baby Joker, and my daughter was Harley Quinn. All right, yeah, it was very nice. And so I took my daughter around the neighborhood trick-or-treating with a bunch of her friends. It was cool at her school. A couple of the parents threw get-togethers at their house where a bunch of the kids meet, and all the parents hang out, and then they gear up and then go trick-or-treating. So my kid went to go trick-or-treating with like 5 of her friends from school, and my wife and son stayed at home and gave out candy. So it was nice. It was nice for me because, again, this year was nice because it reminded me of back in Jersey being home, where like seriously the last 2, we lived in the house before we just moved. 10 years we lived in the same house, and we didn't get one trick-or-treater in those 10 years. It was so sad. Like we'd go buy a bag of candy and have it by the door and shit, and not one person came to our house. But this year was different, so it was great, but that's what we did. I brought my daughter to her friend's house. We hung out, they played and stuff, then everyone went and together and went trick-or-treating, and it was fun, man.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I'm gonna let you have at it. So, Minneapolis, one more time, Mr. Jason Hughes.
All right, good. I'm glad. I see people lined up. At first, I got worried because, again, more of what I do up here is Q&A, and so if you line up. I try not to curse because I know a lot of times at the conventions, I try not to be too dirty because I know parents bring their kids, bless you. And so I'm sure there's a few kids, and I apologize ahead of time if I talk about my bunghole or anything in front of your kids. So, but I'll try to be good. So Gad, you're up first.
Okay, I actually have 2 questions because my kid is a little bit too scared to come up here and ask.
Okay.
The first question, he wants to know why you cut your hair.
Yes. So you know what? There was no one specific reason. My wife and daughter went and got their hair cut, and they came home and their hair was looking fresh and clean and all that stuff. And my hair, 2 reasons really. So my hair just over time, like I get the breakaways on the side. No one knows what that means. It's like I put my hair in a ponytail, and there's like, because the hair isn't long enough to go in the ponytail on the sides, and they like curl up and they're like sticking out the sides. So it just was like a lot of dead ends, split ends, there was flyaways. And with my 8-month-old, the new baby, he's like, I'm always carrying him around, and he's always like pulling out my hair now, and stuff like that. And so I saw my kid and my wife come home from this, getting their hair cut, and it was shorter up to their shoulders, and it looked fresh and clean. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna cut it off. I donated 12 inches to the Lock for Love, and thank you. It's my third time doing it. I'm very happy about that because, so I cut my hair around Zach and Miri. I donated, I think this, so this is the third time I've donated, and I'm almost 50. So the past, I was able to donate 3 times, which just makes me happy. But I'm gonna start letting it grow again, but I figured if I cut it this short, it'll be comfy. I'm almost 50, but I'm gonna let it grow and see if it'll start growing and see how, hopefully it grows, so we'll see.
All right, and the second question was actually a joke question we talked about before coming here.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and ask it.
Ask
We were curious how you tucked yourself in the reboot movie and didn't fall down afterwards.
In the reboot movie, how did I touch myself?
Tuck, when you
Oh,
tucked.
tuck and fall. I thought you said touch myself. I was like, whoa, this is getting really personal. How did I, because you know what, I'm like a professional at this point. I really liked the tuck as a kid all the time. That's why Kevin, that's what I love about Kevin's movies, honestly. It's like, throughout the years, like Clerks, Kevin based the movie on 13, 14, 15-year-old Jason Mewes. Like, we've known each other. I've known Kevin since I was 13 around. And over those years, he's like, man, you know, you got this really weird sense of humor, and I'm gonna write a character based on that character. And so Clerks, that's exactly how I acted as a 16-year-old, 17 when we started shooting. I'd run around. I never hung out in front of stores selling weed, but I did everything else as well. And then as time went on, like if you watch Clerks 2, you know, it's all like, hey, Ethan simply comes up and goes, hey man, where you been? I was like, oh man, I did 6 months of rehab for a deployed airbag. And now I go to meetings and I follow the Holy Bible and stuff. That's all true too. I really got pulled over for a deployed airbag. We got in an accident on the way to Norton, New Jersey, where I used to go get drugs from the projects. And on the way home, I got in an accident. We got pulled over and I had drugs on me. So Kevin would adapt the characters over time and stuff. But the tucking in Clerks 2, the very first time we tucked, and we didn't reboot as well, is I used to always, like, I'd be in the cooler at the convenience store. I used to help Kevin at the Quick Stop. He used to work there full time, and I'd work there and help him out on Sundays. And he'd be like, hey, can you stock the cooler with some, like, milk and Gatorade and all that stuff? And I'd see him coming down the walkway to come to the cooler, and I'm like, oh shit, here he comes. And I'd pull my pants down and I'd tuck, and he'd come in the cooler door, and I'd be like, oh. And he'd be like, ew, dude, what are you doing? I'd be like, I'm playing with them, hold on, you know. Or I'd go over his house and I'd be in his room, he'd be like, hey, I'm gonna go grab something from the kitchen. He'd come back and I'd be laying on his bed, tucked and shit. And goofy stuff like that. And then when he was writing Clerks, I had just found out that, oh my gosh, that song from thank you, was from Q Lazarus. And so I burnt the CD with that song and a bunch of other songs. And every time Kevin picked me up to bring me somewhere, I'd be like, bro, I have my mixtape, which was CD, but mixtape, whatever. And I put it in a disc player, and we listened to Run DMC and this and that, and Q Lazarus. So being that we play that song constantly, and I always tucked, he wrote it into Clerks 2. And then we did it again in Reboot. So I just would say the reason I didn't fall over is because I'm a professional at this point. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations on your recovery.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Hello, young man.
My name is Dave. I actually met you a couple years ago at Nerd and Out Con, and you took my phone and ran into the bathroom and made one of the funniest videos I've ever seen in my life. So, thank you for that.
But not one of those videos, guys.
Yeah, he wasn't necessarily using the bathroom.
Yeah,
he was in there. He was in there.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got a question and then kind of a request, but we'll start with the question. What was the biggest obstacle in your career as a whole, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, wow. I mean, I guess I would say drugs, I guess. You know, I think combination of drugs, And like me doing the J thing. I definitely know that for years there were certain things I would like put my name in the hat. People, I mean, here's a perfect example. I won't even say like for every movie, but even perfect example. The reason I'm not in Red State, which is of course Kevin puts me in all his movies for the most part, is because Kevin was doing a totally different universe, different type of movie, and he's like, Jay, I would love for you to be in the movie, but I'm so worried people are gonna look up on screen and it's gonna take them out of the movie. They're gonna go, there's Jay in a security outfit, you know? And so I get that, and it's like, so for years people were like, oh, he's the slapstick stoner guy, you know? And so it made it a little bit rougher, not horrible, and again, I don't mind being known as Jay. We've been doing it for years, and I love the character and all that stuff. I'm just saying that definitely was a hindrance at times, I think, for certain movies. They're like, oh, that's the slapstick guy. I don't know if he could play this guy, leading man type thing, or whatever it is. But also the drugs. I think it really made me sort of not focus and put my all into, like, by the time we did, because it wasn't until like Dogma that I really stopped working a normal job. Like, we filmed Clerks and I was 17, and by the time it came out, like I was roofing, putting roofs on houses, Clerks came out, and then we went and did Mallrats. And then when I got back from Mallrats, even though I just did Clerks, not one movie, I did Mallrats, I came home and I delivered pizza and did roofing. And then I went and did Chasing Amy. I went and did an indie movie in Vancouver because I met this guy on the set of Mallrats. Jason Lee was in it and stuff. It's called Drawing Flies, a little indie black and white. So, and then I did Vulgar, one scene in Vulgar, Brian Johnson, a friend of ours, did, right? So now I've done Clerks, Mallrats, Vulgar, and Drawing Flies, and I'm still delivering pizza and still, you know, doing construction, and same with Chasing Amy. So now I've done 5 movies, and that's really when I was like, man, I've done 5 movies, and I really enjoy it, and this is something I feel like I can do. But it's, you know, I'm afraid to make that step, like go on auditions and find a manager agent and go to LA or whatever it might take. And it wasn't until Dogma that afterwards I was like, man, this is something I really want to do, and I started doing other things. You know, we started doing the podcast and all that. But I do feel like if I wasn't using and like sitting in there, like I would have tried to hustle more and go try to find an agent and manager. Because I'd be like, hey man, I'm gonna go get a manager. I'm supposed to go to this meeting today. And I'd be like, but I'll do it tomorrow because I'm gonna smoke some crack tonight. You know what I mean? And so like shit like that would come up. So I definitely think between the one thing and the drugs, you know, and the good thing is like after you know, Strikes Back, I was sober for some years, and then but so after that, I would say it wasn't so much the drugs. I just feel like I could have been further along by that point with all the movies I had done and with the people, like with all the different people and things that people that I had met and things I was doing and stuff. I just felt like I didn't make an effort. Like if I came out and people were like, hey, you should come out tonight, man. We're gonna be meeting some, you know, these people work for whatever, I don't know, like Universal, and they're gonna be making like 3 movies this year, and they want to meet you and shit. I'd be like, yeah, I'll see you tonight. And I wouldn't go out because I was too busy trying to find drugs or partying and doing stuff. So it was a big pain in the butt, and it sucks. I mean, again, but at the same time, because of that, it led me to Kevin and I doing our podcast, and Kevin and I did our podcast and toured with him. We had a blast, and I mean, you know, it brought me a certain way, and it is who it is. It is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like those two combined sort of it's a good question. No one's ever asked me that shit, bro. That's a tough one. Yeah, what's the request?
My whole life, I've always wanted to sing $15 Little Man with you. As a group, can we just sing the first 20 seconds of that song?
Sure. First ask me for a nickel bag.
Hey, can I get a nickel bag?
$15, little man. Put that shit in my hand. If that money doesn't show, then you owe me, oh. My general love, oh, we. I think I wanna know you. Good job. Damn, I forgot to look over that. I missed out on this, right? $15, little man. Put that shit in my hand. If that money doesn't show, then you owe me, oh. My jungle love, yeah, oh. I think I wanna know you. Hallelujah. Yeah, boy. Thank you. All right, next question.
Hi, I'm Mike. I have just one question.
Yes, sir.
Would you fuck me? I fuck me so hard.
Thank you. Sorry, I got some goods coming to me. All right, Keith, you can ask the next question.
My name is Mike. Is there a scene in one of the movies that you guys just improvised that came out of nowhere, that wasn't scripted, that was just hilarious, that didn't make it?
For any of the movies you're saying, I don't think a full-on scene ever. I mean, I think the goofing, I think definitely the, yummy coffee. Sorry, so you know what was in the movie? I don't think anything was ever made that wasn't scripted that wound up in the movie. I mean, that didn't wind up in the movie, but that wound up in the movie. You know, the scene where we come up, we were just joking around in the scene when I come up to Jason Lee and he's like, now cue to the music, Matt, Matt. That wasn't in the movie. Like, I come up and I say something, whatever I say, I forget the scene dialogue right now, but Jason Lee and he would always do that, like, he would always make that sound, so I'd be like, yo, make the music, man. And him and I would just do it goofing off, and we did it in the scene goofing off, and Kevin was like, let's do that again, take 2. And we actually did it in the scene, and it wound up in the movie, so. But I don't think definitely for years, Kevin wouldn't let, like for Clerks, not that I would have anyway, because I was so nervous personally, but like Brian or anyone, Kevin wouldn't let anyone ad-lib or improvise or anything. He wanted everyone to say exactly what was on the pages. All like for Clerks, Mallrats, and Chasing Amy, Kevin at that point was like, you know, his first couple movies, he was like, look man, don't you add your stuff. I wrote the movie. Stick to my words. These are my words. Don't add your own words. Kevin tells a funny story, and I won't do it any justice, of course, but he's talking about when he tells a story about Ben Affleck and Joey Lawrence Adams at the park, and they're on the swing, and she's like, says something about, well, that's what we do for uncomfortable places or something like that. And again, I can't even do it justice. But Kevin got bummed and was like, whoa, cut, what is that? And he's like, that's some of my own flavor. Ben was trying to add some ad-libs and some thing. And Kevin's like, whoa, dude, like, go write your own movie. He's like, this is my words, go write your own movie. And then Kevin always, you know, makes a joke that Ben went and wrote his own movie and won an Oscar for it, you know. Good Will Hunting. But anyway, so Kevin didn't let anyone ad-lib or any of that stuff it really was Jay and Bob. He started loosening up a little bit when we worked with Will Ferrell and Chris Rock and all that Strikes Back and stuff. And that's when I feel like he started really letting go a little bit. I mean, talking about a teeny bit, but more so Jay and Bob. And then Zach and Miri, he just was like, he just gave in because when Seth Rogen and Craig Robertson were on set, talking back and forth, like the script went out the window. Like none of those words, I mean, they told the same idea of what the scene said and some of the scenes back and forth, but they would just ad-lib back and forth, Craig and Seth. It was really cool to watch. But anyway, so yeah, so I can't think of anything that ever like, you know, that was in this thing that we made up and then got cut out or something. I mean, there's definitely things Kevin wrote that gets cut out, and you know, the cool thing is the behind the scenes, deleted scenes always on the DVD and stuff. So, but yeah, I definitely know that something that we did that we were just fooling around that made it in the movie was that part where I'm like, he's like, cue the music, man. Oh. So, anyway, hopefully that answered your question. Thank you.
The second question, when you took that guy's phone, was that another tucking story?
No, you know what? When people ask me to do videos for like, hey man, my mom can't be here, or brother, or what have you, I like to make videos, but I don't like doing it like, if someone asked me to do it for like now, for example, I wouldn't want to do it like right in front of everyone and be like, hey, what's up, Cindy? You know, I like to go in the back and sort of make it a surprise, not only for the person who it's for, but for the person asking for it. So I'm assuming the bathroom was the only place for me to hide out. So because I wouldn't do anything like that, man. I don't want to get hashtag me too. Anyway. Yes, sir.
Oh yes, I was an extra on Strikes Back.
Bullshit. No, I'm just kidding.
I was wondering, they gave us strict rules because of the orangutan we were working with. What was it like for you?
For the orangutan, it's funny because over the years people do ask, what was it like? And I'd like to say like, oh my God, it was so fun hanging out hour after hour with the ape, and we would play, you know, rock, paper, scissors, and fucking tic-tac-toe and stuff, right? But you know what? You weren't allowed to play with the ape at all. Like even we weren't allowed to, because you know the trainers explain like, hey, look, we're training them to work with people, but they have to see the people as a prop. Like the ape looks at you, they're like, oh, this is my stand-in cut-out cardboard of Jay and Silent Bob, and I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. But if we start playing with them, that goes out the window, and the ape's like, this is my friend, and they'll jump on and play with you and stuff and not listen. So we had to like work with them, and we couldn't even like and we couldn't even like sit and play with her and be like, hey, in between takes, they're setting up some lights, it's gonna be 10 minutes, let's hang out and talk, you know. We had to just stand there, and it would like, sometimes she would like start hitting you, like not hard, but like playfully, and like you want to like play back and be like, stop it, you know, and be like, stop, cutie pie, you know, or rub her head or something, but you can't. So it sucked almost. I sort of sucked, but not really, because it was cool to like even be in the presence of, and then at the very end of the shoot, we were able to like hang out a little bit with her and play with her, and she jumps on her back and all this stuff. But yeah, it was interesting. I had no idea, like the whole idea, and then I didn't know they only make it to like 2 years old and they got to stop working. I guess as soon as they hit like 2 years old, apes and monkeys and what have you, they get aggressive and they're like, oh, I'm not listening to you anymore. Like, fuck you. And I know that the one right now is at like some place where they go after, like, to hang out and stuff and take care of them and stuff, because she got too old and got a little aggressive, I guess, with her trainers even the people that have trained her the whole life. So again, it was, don't get me wrong, it was cool. The idea, 19 years old and we're doing Mallrats, and at the end they're like, hey, we're bringing an ape on set and you get to work with her and walk down the street holding her hand. That was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, this is crazy, because again, the first movie wasn't, we didn't even have a boom mic. We had like a hockey stick, like, yeah, like for real, like there was no extra money, no stunt guys, no wardrobe. And all of a sudden now we're in Minnesota at the Improvisation Mall. We have stunt guys and like, you know, grappling hooks and different wardrobe and makeup and hair and all this stuff. And now we have an ape on set, and it was like surreal. So again, Mallrats will be my favorite forever, because I like the movie and a whole lot of fun. I really like Strikes Back and all that stuff. But like making Mallrats was such a surreal experience. And so on, Jay, I mean, don't know what getting to work with Alan Rickman and working with George Carlin, all that, don't get me wrong, all of them have been surreal to me and have been fun. But Mallrats especially, because it was like my first movie really. Like all of a sudden we're in Minnesota and we're out in a hotel for 2 months, and they were giving us per diem, which blew my mind. They came in one day and gave me an envelope, and I was like, what's this? They're like, $300 for the week. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, it's spending money, you know, because you don't live here. You get per diem, so you can buy food and snacks and things for the week. And I was like, this is fucking awesome, you know? It really was. It was great. And then, you know, going in and being like, all right, here's your wardrobe. You have 3 jackets and this and that. And it was really, really cool. And I had so much fun and running around the mall with Jason Lee, who I had met, and he's such a good dude and fun dude. And Saplee, me and Saplee really hung out, got to know each other and stuff, and hung out a bunch. It really was. It was really fun making Mallrats. All of them, but especially Mallrats for me. So, thank you, young man. Thank you. Who's coming in after me? Do you know? Cosplay contest? Really? Fuck yeah. Dude, I love, you know what, honestly for me, I've been coming to these things. Kevin and I did our first convention after we did Mallrats. Kevin and I went to, I believe, San Diego. They flew us out to San Diego Comic-Con in 1997, I feel like was my first one. Kevin, I think, said he went to one 95, but 97, what I remember. And then going to Chicago Comic-Con that year. And then they would fly us out, and Kevin and I would sign for like 4 hours together and do some Q&As, what have you. But again, to be, think about it, how many years ago is that? 97?
25.
How many years? Too many people. How many years?
26.
26 years ago. Thank you. So 26 years ago, what a different than now, comic conventions. Like back then, it was literally like dudes like, oh my God, Batman, he whirls around, like, and it was just like on a smaller scale and all that. Cosplayers were awesome, but they were just like, oh, there's someone dressed up. Now, like, cosplayers have their own booths and they're making bank, and like, it's such an awesome, different thing. Voiceover people, like, it's so changing the size of things and the different types of people that come. And it's been great for me to watch, because again, I've been coming since 97 all the way to now, and to watch the change, how conventions have changed over time and how much more people know about comic books because of all the movies, all the Avengers and Iron Man movie, and it's been so awesome. But anyway, go ahead. I don't know why I went on that tangent, but
I was wondering, going way back when, before Clerks, was being involved in movies, like, that's something you even wanted to do, or like was Kevin kind of pulling you into that?
Not at all. Yeah, I had no plan on doing movies. Never even thought about it. And even afterwards, even after Clerks. But to go back, it's like Kevin and I started hanging out. Like, he worked at the community center in my town, and I used to see him there. We grew up in this small town where you knew him, and I went to high school with him. But he's 4 years older, so I'm like a freshman in high school. He's a senior, you know. He's writing these funny sketch comedy stuff. But I knew who he was, but we didn't talk or anything, is my point. But when he left school, he started working at the community center, and I used to go down there with him. And also, if you guys watch Comic Book Men, if you've seen the show, Brian Johnson, Walt Flanagan, and Kevin, the three of them supervised all the kids at the community center, right? They didn't supervise shit. They would sit in the corner talking about comics and reading comic books and stuff, talking about hockey and all that stuff. But I started playing foosball with them and getting to know them and stuff, and hanging out and got their comics. Long story short, though, is I started hanging out with Kevin at the quick stop. I would help him, like I said the story before. On Sundays, I'd come help him with the newspaper. I put this Sunday paper together called the Asbury Park Press. You know, it was like 4 bundles of papers you had to make into one, and he hated doing it. He had to do it like 5:30 in the morning. So he'd give me like $5 and some free snacks, and he would pick me up, and I'd come help him put these papers together by 6:30, and then I would stock the cooler a little bit and stuff like that. And we started to get to know each other and hanging out like that and stuff. And then I would do weird shit like talk and do things like I told you in the cooler. And I would run around and be like, snoots to the dudes, you know? And weird stuff. And Kevin would be like, was always like, hey man, like, Walt, Brian, and I all agree with this weird sense of humor, but is it just like New Jersey funny? Or do we just find it funny because we all have a weird sense of humor? Thank you guys, thank you. So if you guys get a chance, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/JAYMEWS. I stream almost every day, and I play video games, and I unbox things, and hang out and chat with people and stuff. Also, I don't know if you guys know, we're doing a cruise in February, the Jay and Silent Bob Cruise SQ. We're going to be doing our podcast there. Kevin's doing like 4 podcasts there. We have Sola Song's going to be there, Jason Lee, Ethan Splee, myself, Brian, Jeff. We're going to be doing some tournaments, gaming tournaments, poker tournaments, podcasting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Check it out if you get a chance. cruisesq.com, I think you can check out tickets and stuff like that. February 23rd, 26th, it's going to be from Miami to Nassau, Bahamas for 3 days. I'm excited. I've never been on a cruise. So I'm a little excited about it. I'm a little nervous about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I've never been on a boat for 3 days, but I think it could be fun. So I'm excited. Check it out, anyone, if you get a chance. And this will end with this last question. Cool? Yeah? Everyone's like, get out of here, I want to see cosplay!
Hi, thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you.
I just had a question. Do you have any funny stories from like when you were shooting Mallrats, like just while you were hanging out with the wall or anything?
I wish I could remember that, not far back. No, funny stories about Mallrats. I mean, there's no one specific story that really honestly stands out to me. I mean, it was fun. What I found more fun, almost more fun than filming the movies, is afterwards, everyone that worked all day, were all staying in the same hotel. And I can't remember, I was trying to find out, I gotta ask Kevin, I feel like you remember this. We all were staying at the same hotel, and at the end of the night, everyone would go home, and they would go to their room and do whatever, but afterwards, we'd all meet in the lobby, the bar lobby, and hang out. And it was just so much fun. Like, we'd hang out for hours, chatting about the day, chatting and getting to know each other. A bunch of us would like spin off and go in the pool, in the hot tub, and all this stuff. And it was a lot of fun, just every day, and making everything, and doing the, you know, again, it was so different now. All of a sudden we got stunt guys, and they got me up on a grappling hook. I remember they pulled us up on this crane. It's where I'm like, where do you get those wonderful toys? And I kiss his cheek, right? And it was like, we were only hanging up like, whatever, like from the ground up to here, but it, like being on a cable, we were like, oh shit, you know? And then when doing the Easter Bunny, what was my favorite thing too, as I was doing it, they don't do this anymore, is I remember one day after we did the scene where I was like, the Easter Bunny did it, and I'm like, boom, 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 and we're beating up the Easter Bunny. Afterwards, the stunt guy was like, here you go, I'm giving you this, and he gives me $200 cash. I'm like, dude, what's this? He's like, you get a stunt bump for doing your own stunt. I was like, wait, what? He's like, you beat up the Easter Bunny. We were gonna put a stunt guy in there to do it. And I was like, really? I was like, I want to do all my stunts. I was like, give me $200 each time I do a stunt, you know? It was so surreal to me, but so much fun. I don't have a funny story that stands out. One of my favorite stories I have from the movies, I'll say this before we leave. And afterwards, I'll be at my table. I'm just going to let everyone know that. So if anyone is not staying for the thing or after the cosplay, come check me out at my table. Because afterwards, but is Jay and Bob Strikes Back. Will Ferrell's in the movie, right? And then, I was so excited. I love Will Ferrell. And every day that song just came out, the CD. Remember that song? So she called me in the shower, wasn't me. And then someone in the bathroom, wasn't me. So that song just came out. I bought the CD. There was like 3 other songs I'd listen to on repeat, like 3. Every time you go in, every morning I'd go in the hair and makeup trailer. They'd be like, where's your CD? And they'd take it, put it in the CD player, and we'd listen to it while they were doing my hair and my makeup. And people come in and out. You know, Kevin would come in and get his stuff. He'd go block out the scene. Will Ferrell would come in and get his hair. So he knew the song, right? People listen to the song and they'd be like, you're playing this again? I'm like, yes, I love it. And so we're in that scene, the pipe. Remember when Jay and Bob run out of the pipe? We jump with Suzanne and they're like, oh no! And all of a sudden Will Ferrell's like, oh, and he runs and jumps out the pipe and he's like, shit! And he looks back and Suzanne's holding on to Jay and Bob on the pipe. It was like a spoof on like The Fugitives type thing. So we're about to film that, and when you do it, you block it out, you say the dialogue, you do the scene, and then the DP, the camera guy's like, all right, man, it's like a little dark back there, let's put up a couple more lights. Guys, it's gonna be like 5 minutes if you can just hang out for a sec. So we're hanging out in the tunnel, the pipe, the fake pipe, me, Kevin, and a couple guys, and Will Ferrell, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know, I'm a little bored, I'm like, and then all of a sudden someone grabs my shoulder, spins me around and shit, and right in my face is Will Ferrell, and he's like, it wasn't me. And starts dancing with me. And no lie, in my head, I'm like, holy fuck, I'm dancing with Will Ferrell, this is fucking awesome! You know? So that's one of my favorite stories, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Like I said, I'll be at my table all day. Stooch Kanooch!
I want
want to give a special shout out to the Gold Ranger members: Anime King Nick, Chaos Draco, The Arctic Operator, Dig Wyron, Tim Rage, Roderick Hare, Miguel Ortiz, Let's Talk Sports, Papleon Oger, Roderick Ham, Jason Morazes, Willie Maloney, Louis Cairns, Solima Ramirez, Danny Nascimento, Skird, Stephen Heffelman, Thomas Franco, Savage Sal, Tim Brown, Sean Schiffer, The Cosmic Nerd 24, Bruce Walters, and Austin White. Thank you guys so much for your support, and if you want a video shout out like this one, sign up to be a Gold Ranger member today. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this content, you know what to do. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. You can also become a member. Please join the fan club support team right now. We have a Blue Ranger power-up and a Gold Ranger power-up. This is an awesome way to talk with the fans. Join a fan club official chat group. You can also be featured in our videos. At the end of the videos, I will shout you out. That's if you get the Gold Ranger Power-Up membership. Go check it out. Go support the fan club. We love you guys, and thanks for watching. Peace.
Hi, we're Bulk and Skull. We have been requested by the fan club to say something funny.